Good evening, everyone. Imagine being a student who spent 6 hours at school only to rush to another classroom afterwards. Not because you love learning, not because you are curious, but because you are afraid of failing an exam. A few years ago, one of my students said, I go to school because I have to go. I go to coaching because I want to pass the exam. That statement stayed with me because it revealed something important about how many students experience assessment in Bangladesh. If students believe that success comes from coaching rather than school, what does they tell us about the message our education system is sending? Today, I want to argue that private coaching does not more than prepare students for examination. It teaches a curriculum about success, competition, inequality, and assessment truly values. Before discussing the hidden curriculum, we first need to understand the scale of phenomenon. In Bangladesh, private coaching makes become the normal part of the student life. Research shows that large portion of students participate in private tutoring, particularly in urban areas. For many families, coaching is no longer a choice; it is seen as a necessity. But Bangladesh is not alone. Across Asia and many other parts of the world, shadow education continues to grow alongside formal schooling. This raises an important question. If millions of students are spending too much time, money on coaching, what are they actually learn from it? And perhaps the most important, what does it tell us about the way we assess learning? To answer that question, we need to understand idea of the hidden curriculum. Philip Jackson argued that schools teaches much more than the official curriculum. Students learn values, attitudes, expectations, and social norms. These lessons often invisible. They are not written in textbook, but they influence how students understand learning and success. The same thing happens in the coaching centers. While coaching centers teach subject context and also teach the students what kinds of knowledge, behaviors, and achievements are rewarded. In other words, they teach the students not only how to pass the exam, but also what success is expected to look like. In my view, coaching teaches four powerful lessons. First, assessment becomes a gatekeeper. Students learn that exam scores can determine the opportunities, status, and even how they are valued by others. Second, knowledge becomes fragmented. Learning is broken into partition questions and model answer exam techniques. Third, dependency can replace agency. Instead of becoming confident, independent learners, students may come into rely heavily on coaching success. And finally, students being a belief that real preparation happens outside school. These lessons are rarely written down, but they may be some of the most powerful lessons students learn. Not only student experience coaching is the same way. Students from affluent families often have access to multiple coaching centers, special tutors, extensive learning resources. Students from low income families often do not. Baldwin argued that education can sometimes produce social inequality rather than reduce it. Private coaching can strengthen this process by turning financial resources into educational advantage. As a result, two students may sit in the same exam, but they do not being the from same starting point. The exam may be the same, but their opportunity behind are not the same. So far, I discussed research and theory, but perhaps the most important voice for those of the students themselves. Many students describe the coaching as the where real exam preparations happens, while school becomes the place they attend because they are required to. One student explained, I go to school to get attendance. I go to coaching to actually learn from the exam. Whether we agree with the statement or not, it tells us something important about how students experience assessment. When students believe that coaching is more valuable than the school, they are replacing an intensive created by the assessment system. In other words, coaching has become more than the support service. For many students, it has become an essential part of how success is achieved. Educational researchers use the as the watchback to describe the influence of assessment as the teaching and learning. In simple terms, we assess often determine the students learn. When examinations are high stakes, students focus on what will tested, patients invest on coaching, and teachers prioritize exam preparation. The result is a cycle. High stakes assessment creates demand for coaching. Coaching narrows the learning. Narrow learning reinforces the importance of the examination. This cycle then repeats itself. This reminds me that something important. Assessment is not simply measuring learning, it's shaping learning. If assessment contributes to the problem, it must also part of the solution. Research Black and William highlights the value of the formative assessment, meaningful feedback that help the students learn and improve throughout the learning process. Assessment should be reward understanding, critical thinking, creativity, and application knowledge rather than memorization alone. At the same time, public school needs to greater support so that students do not feel that success depends on purchasing additional education. If we want to learn the value of the learning more than test preparation, then we need assessment system that value hearing too. Why does at all matter? It matters because assessment sends powerful messages. When assessment rewards only examination performance, students learn that marks matter than the learning. When coaching becomes essential for success, students learn the education is transitional. And when these messages are repeated year after year, they become the part how students see themselves and their future. This lesson remain with the students long after they forget content of their textbook. To conclude, private coaching in Bangladesh is more than an educational support service. It has become a parallel education system that teaches students how to think about success, learning, and opportunities. I am not arguing that coaching is the problem. Rather, coaching is a symptomatic of a wider assessment system. If we want to meaningful educational change, we must rethink not only how students learn, but also how we assess. Because until assessment change, coaching will continue teaching in a hidden curriculum that will be more influential than the official one. And perhaps that is most important lesson of all. Thank you all.